Hello and welcome to Charter Local Edition Northwest. I'm Dana Cowley and today we're in downtown Roseburg talking about the issues that matter to you. My guest today is Oregon Senator Jeff Kruse. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Dana.
You're making some transformations in the state with health care.
Yes, we are. It's called Coordinated Care Organizations. There's currently 17 of them in the state. We created them a few years ago, and we kind of had an agreement amongst the lawmakers that we would kind of back off and let them kind of go through the process of creation and figuring out what they wanted to be at the local level.
Just kind of percolate, I guess.
Right, yeah, because it's supposed to be a locally driven process, and so we wanted that to happen in a relatively organic way. We have now decided that it's time for us to mess with them in some interesting ways. It is, and actually, the legislation that is going to be first out of the box came from an entirely different work group I've been on during the interim, having to do with efficiencies in the school system. And one of the things we discovered was that a lot of school funding formula dollars currently are going to pay for school-based health centers and school nurses. And those are all good things. Don't get me wrong, I fully support them, but when we take a hard look at it, most of the kids that present in those settings are either Medicaid or CHIP eligible, which means that we can get a 60-40 federal match for the services. And so what we are going to attempt to do is move them from the school setting, I mean, they're still going to be in schools, obviously, but move them their funding structure into the CCOs so that we can get Medicaid match for those services that are delivered, and maybe with that actually be able to expand the network. Sounds simple, it won't be, but this is one of those issues that has some pretty good bipartisan, bicameral support, so I think we'll be able to do it. And then the next issue there we're going to take up is the fact that we're supposed to have global budgets in healthcare. We don't. We still have the private pay is still over here. Medicaid is still over here. Basically, the CCOs are dealing with Medicare, but they're not dealing with all of Medicare because there's a portion of the Medicare services that are still in the Department of Human Services, not in the Oregon Health Authority, and that's specifically long-term care and disabled care. And so that will be the next task we're going to take on, is how we merge them into the coordinated care organizations. That's even more complicated, and it's probably going to take more than one session to get there, but those are the two issues relative to healthcare that one of them I think will get accomplished, and the other one we can at least start down the pathway to resolving.
For the students and then the seniors who receive these healthcare services,
right.
Is this going to be something that's how the legislature administers and funds it, or are we going to see a lot of impact to the actual recipients?
The recipients, what happens in the school at the school-based health centers and the work of the school nurses the students shouldn't notice any difference. Because they're still going to be where they need to be located. It's getting health care to where the people that need it are. That's
what it was sounding to me like. It might be more administrative.
It's clearly administrative. It's if we have the ability to draw down more federal dollars to deliver those services, number one, and number two, free up money that's in the school budget to actually have more money go to the classroom, it's a win-win.
Right. And then for the seniors, do you think it will be the same way?
The seniors is going to be more difficult because quite simply it's a lot more complicated, and there's going to be some resistance to that move, I think, because the services, the long-term care services and the disabled services, although there is Medicaid dollars for it, there's no profit in any of those sort of services. So at the end of the day, the CCOs do want to be able to actually make some money, which there's nothing wrong with. So getting them to voluntarily move in that direction is going to be a little interesting. And in both scenarios, with the senior population and with the students, It's going to require the coordinated care organizations to expand the number and type of providers they have in their network. So we're going to have to do a little pushing probably to get there.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and
You
enlightening about this. We appreciate it.
Okay.
This is Jeff Kruse. He's one of your Oregon State Senators. I'm Dana Cowley in Roseburg, and you're watching Charter Local Edition Northwest.